the City Commission will come to order. And I'd like to start, as we do down at City Hall, with a moment of silence, everyone. If you can all stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Clerk, if you could call the roll.
Since we're in the first ward, Commissioner Belcheck,
Here.
Commissioner Robbins,
Present.
Commissioner Knight,
Present.
Commissioner Kilgore,
Present.
Commissioner Asasi,
Present.
Commissioner Perdue,
Good evening.
and Mayor LeGrand.
Present. So we begin, and this is the point for public comment, and this will be a moment for comment on anything that's on the agenda or anything that you wish to discuss with City Commission. And those of you who haven't been here before, ask you to limit your time to 3 minutes, and there's a pretty visible clock here, unless you have need for a translator, in which case you can have twice as much time. We often also, at this point, point out that we do have a translator, and I hope we do. There she is. If you could come to the microphone and just briefly point out that you're here in Spanish, and we only have a translator for Spanish, unfortunately.
Hola, buenas tardes. Para los que quieran hacer algún comentario público, tienen 3 minutos. Para los que están utilizando los servicios de interpretación, se le va a dar el doble de ese tiempo, o sea, 6 minutos. Por favor, déjenme saber para entonces ayudarles con la interpretación.
Thank you. So, anyone wishing to make public comment can come up to the microphone.
Mayor, while they're coming up, I just want to clarify that unlike at City Hall, tonight we only have one opportunity for public comment, and as you've requested, both on agenda items and anything else that they would like to speak on.
Correct. So we're doing it before the meeting, not after, not before and after, as we often do downtown, or we always do, I think.
All right, cool.
Mr. Jones.
So this is on a public comment on anything?
Correct.
All right, cool. How y'all doing? I'm D. Jones, passionate entrepreneur and visionary. I gave you guys a handout up there. That is actually the official flyer for our partnership when I won the $10,000 grant in October. As you see, I have Epic Games, the $32 billion company that actually developed Fortnite, giving an educational session at Ottawa Hills High School. I'm also here in Union High School. I stay around the corner from here, but I'm actually helping this school build an esports lab. So it's cool because I've helped our school district build 6 esports labs, and we're one of the schools. So I know the future things that I've been doing in the last 7 years of me advocating for esports gaming and all of the careers. This thing is going to happen. The second page that I gave you guys, I'm actually working on the first regional finals in the state. At the DeVos Place. It's going to be a 3-day event at the DeVos Place during Comic-Con, which is the 5th largest event in Kent County. I love for the city to support this because it's going to be a 3-day event. Not only are we going to have schools all across the state of Michigan, but we'll have schools across the country actually coming there to compete against our students here across the state and locally. Luckily, we do have infrastructure for this now locally, so our students here will be competing against kids across the state. Once again, it'll be 3 days during November, so I'm excited for that. Then the last page, if you guys check the last page, when I was at the Detroit Lions facility, you actually see that they have an Xbox controller. So all of the beautiful things that we see when they do the replays and everything is actually used from a gaming controller. What's the coincidence of going to Detroit and actually seeing the replays and being excited and hearing the passion and fierce loyalty that people have for the Lions and see that they actually use an Xbox controller? I have like 9 Xboxes at the house right now because I have to do these cool activations and things that I'm doing. Also, I'm excited to partner with you guys on the summer program because I'm helping develop a summer program with you guys. Right now I have Kent ISD, I have Ferris State University, which has the only esports degree, a broadcasting degree, and they're actually going to be giving out varsity scholarships. So we're actually going to be having them advising and looking at our students the entire time and working with us through the entire process. So I know that kids here locally across our school district are going to be able to get scouted directly from the college, work with the college, and they're going to be hands-on with this opportunity here, along with Epic Games, which is a $32 billion company that I called my best friend that works there as the head of education and said, hey, I love to enrich my community and the students around here. Could you give an educational session? As we know, the O is one of the Ottawa Hills, as people like to say around here, is one of the worst performing schools, but it'll definitely be one of the better performing schools with the things that I'm doing and all of the cool activities. So $32 billion company, richer than the Bosses and Van Nandos. I got to say that on record because I just love to say that it's a beautiful company. We're going to change the education system, and with the support of the city, beautiful things are going to happen. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I'm making comment on behalf of Miss Signy Gant Jordan. She couldn't be here tonight, so she sent me her public comment, so I'll make that for her. Dear members of the Park Advisory Board and Grand Rapids City Commission, there are deep concerns over the recommendations from the Parks Advisory Boards, not to name the Parklet Unity Park. As has been communicated to leadership in the Parks and Recreation Department, there are broader implications as to the ongoing lack of recognition and preservation of Black history in Southwest Grand Rapids. As we continue to see development and revitalization efforts across the city, it is disheartening to witness the continued erasure of Black contributions and historical presence in the area. Naming streets, parks, and public spaces after historical figures and events that reflect the diversity of Grand Rapids is critical to ensuring that all communities feel seen and valued. The southwest side of Grand Rapids has a rich Black history, yet there seems to be a growing pattern of omission when it comes to formally acknowledging that legacy. Whether intentional or not, these decisions send a message that the stories, struggles, and triumphs of the Black community are not worthy of the public remembrance. Acknowledging Black history is not just about the past, it's about affirming our presence and contributions to the city's future. I look forward to your response and to working collaboratively towards a more inclusive approach to historical recognition in Grand Rapids. Sisters in Development, LLC, resident property owner, taxpayer, and business owner in the Roosevelt Park neighborhood, Ms. Signy Grant Jordan. Thank you.
Hi, hello, it's me again. I'm Sheldon. I'm from the 2nd Ward. I again canvassed for a few of you, and I'm here again asking very kindly for the board or the mayor or for anyone in the city commission to please enact sanctuary policies to protect our friends and neighbors. With the ramp up of what we've seen at a federal level, we're seeing people deported to prisons in El Salvador to be never seen again. These are good people, and there is nothing stopping us from enacting these sanctuary policies. I do just want to state again that the 10th Amendment states that we are responsible for governing our own policies as a city, and we can, in fact, legally enact policies that will make it harder for ICE to operate and steal up the people in our neighborhoods who live here and love here and just want to exist here. There are families being broken apart throughout the country, and it is not okay, and it is terrifying, and I can't live in a world where this continues to happen. I cannot continue to wake up every day and see this happening in my community and see this happening in the world. And I'm asking again kindly to please enact sanctuary policies that restrict the amount of information that the city and or the jails can in fact give to ICE, that give only the mandatory required information, that ignore all retainers, because that is not a requirement, that is a suggestion by the federal government that we do not have to abide by. I'm begging you folks, please, to enact policies that just make it difficult for them to work with us. Because, like I said, we can, and as I said at the last time I spoke, the mayor of Lansing in 2019 also enacted sanctuary policies to protect his citizens from ICE. And this, in my opinion, is not a politically charged issue. These are people. These are just people who, just like you and I, want to live and want to love and want to spend time with their family and enjoy our parks and enjoy our businesses and enjoy their neighbors. These are people we speak to and see every day. And you would never know that they're living in fear every moment of their lives. And I have the luxury and the privilege to not have to think about that every day. I have the luxury and the privilege of not having to think about what's going on at a federal public stage if I don't want to, because I am a documented citizen, and that is like appalling and abhorrent, and I cannot live in a world where just because I was born here that I'm safe from being snatched up out of my home, out of my community, and shipped off to a country where I'm never going to be seen again. This is not acceptable, and we cannot, as a city, as a populace, allow our city to be bullied at that federal level. Thank you.
Folks, please refrain from clapping. I know many of you may be, this is a commission night out, so maybe you're not used to the protocols from downtown. But we don't want this to be a popularity contest, and we don't want people, it's just part of our protocol to not clap, also certainly not boo, treat everyone with respect, and be civil to the people who are talking. So, thank you.
Hi there. My name is Corbin. Glad to have Commissioner Kilgore in the 3rd Ward. I just want to read from Section 1 of the 14th Amendment of the Constitution of the United States. All persons, born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof, are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property, any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the law. ICE has been deporting and snatching up people. Think about your cousin, your mother, your aunt, your brother being snatched up and taken without being given due process. These are people that, just like you and I, have family, have friends, have people that they love. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Emma. Haven't been here in a while, but I've been trying to break up with y'all and break up with the violence of the system for a long time, and you guys keep creeping back in. You keep adding money to the policing budget. I don't know I don't know what else we can say other than we're tired. The community is tired of being harassed. And I mean, I don't trust y'all. I'm always open for you to prove me wrong, but I don't trust y'all. And I moved on to building community care with my community members. And if people want to join me, like I said, you're welcome to join me. I don't see it happening. You're welcome to join me. But all community members are welcome to join me and come and talk about it on April 5th, the day after the anniversary of Patrick Lyoya. We're having a film festival to talk about, this isn't working, let's break up with the system. And what can we do to take care of ourselves? What can we do to make sure that we know our neighbors, that we know when somebody's in trouble, that we can lean on each other instead of having to keep calling these cops that keep enacting violence. And speaking of violence, it's not a hard leap when you think of the prison system and policing to go on to ICE and what's happening here in America and in Grand Rapids. And I know historically that this commission doesn't do this, and not to say that you're unique. I don't see very many people in power doing this, although there are precedents throughout the United States of making this a sanctuary city. Listening to the people who are actually vulnerable to our refugee and immigrant brothers and sisters and siblings who are saying that they need us to stand up and say, everybody around us, proclaim that we will be safe here. Because if we don't, as a city, say that, That's just all the more cracks for ICE to keep coming in and for hateful people to keep coming in and enact violence. Like I said, it's we can talk about all the logic behind it, we can talk about all the horrors behind it, but one thing comes down, again, simple to me, like, people are going through the politics of their mind, well, maybe sanctuary cities won't work because of this, maybe, I'm gonna get in trouble because of this, I'm gonna lose funding because of this. Again, it comes down to, what are the people who are vulnerable saying they need for protection? They know their lives best, they know their safety best, so listen to them.
My name is John. Of course, I want to make a speech that will save the whole world. A lot of people believe in the end of the world. I don't believe in that. I believe in a sort of long-awaited pivot point. I think humanity has been working on a big project to come together in peace, where we will all eat for free and share everything, and parents will turn to their children. When you see something is not right, not fair, not just, you have to speak up. You have to say something. You have to do something. If you can't tell that Israel is treating Palestine the way the Nazis treated the Jews, you don't know right from wrong. Hillary Scholten and Alyssa Slotkin don't know right from wrong. If you can't tell Donald Trump is treating immigrants the way Hitler treated immigrants, you don't know right from wrong. It is written that Donald Trump deports many undocumented people to the worst prison in the world. Bring back the Dutch tradition of hiding families in your attic. Anne Frank was not a Dutch citizen. Anne Frank was not a Dutch citizen, and they hid her for years. They hid the family for years. Whoever saves one life saves the world entire. We must take care of each other whether the government approves or not. We must speak out whether the government approves or not. We cannot overcome our oppressors with violence. We can't out-violence the violent. Violence breeds more violence. I hate to see GRPD popping off with paintball guns. That's violence. That's violence. You bring in violence to stop violence, use your voice. Our voices are our most powerful tool to stop violence. We will have to raise our voices together. Peaceful protest is mightier than the mightiest weapon of violence. We have to believe we can change their minds with our words and change their hearts with our great demonstrations of love. Whenever you march for justice, Dr. King marches with you. Hate cannot cast out hate. Only love can do that. Darkness cannot cast out darkness. Only light can do that. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. Black Lives Matter. Justice for Patrick Lyoya. If you think it's been wrong that it's been 3 years, speak up, you people. If you think it's been wrong that Patrick got killed 3 years ago and ain't nothing happened, speak up, because you're not speaking up. You need to join the people, raise your voice. Justice for Patrick Lyoya, justice for Riley Doggett, Samuel Sterling, Sonia Massey. Justice for Anne Frank, justice for all stolen lives, justice for black and brown people the world over. God's justice cannot sleep forever. You can't stop the revolution. We shall overcome. We shall all be free. The time is always right to do the right thing.
Hello, I am Matthew. You have seen me before. I am here. Yeah, it's never too late to do the right thing, and he doesn't. And if you want to know what the right thing is, just read the Word of God. That will tell you what the right thing, or just me and my dad would be happy to tell you what the right thing is. Anyway, I'm Matthew Scott, a 30-year resident of this great city, and I would like to tell you that even though you don't believe in God, God is coming back, so you better be ready, and He will, and His vengeance is His, he will avenge, and so we are just speaking up for the unborn and telling you and telling you to be ready. Thank you.
Hello, friends. Mark from Grand Rapids. This regime will go down as the worst regime ever in this country. How in the hell you have an incompetent Secretary of Defense leaking out valuable information to a reporter through an app? That's unfreaking believable. And I'm telling you this right now. The United States of America is going to be the donut hole of the world. Thanks to the orange felon and the incompetent knuckleheads he put in this administration. That is a problem. I don't give a damn what they think. That is the reason why the people sat on the damn couch and let this happen. We tried to tell you. Now you're effing around and you're finding out. If you didn't want ICE to deport immigrants, legal and illegal, you should have got up and voted. That's your fault. Don't blame me. I'm telling you the truth. Now we got this mess with this involved leaks. That's not the American way. That's the felon way. And somebody's going to have to pay the price for it. Now as for the GRPD recruitment, again, I could care less about the funding. I want to know who's going to be recruited. Who's going to be these recruits? I don't want nobody from no hate groups. I don't want nobody from Oath Keepers, Boogaloo Boys, the Violent Boys, Patriot Front. Hell no. We don't want that here. So you better think about this, because we don't want that happening in Grand Rapids here. Boycott Tesla.
Hi, my name is Jonathan Lathers. I'm a resident of the 2nd Ward. I'm back in front of you to speak to you about my concerns about my neighbors in this community and their request that you declare Grand Rapids a sanctuary city. I heard a lot of feedback from y'all about concerns and how you need to weigh both sides because, oh, it could bring attention from the administration and cause us tax dollars and all that sort of thing, and oh, that would be worse for the people that are asking to be made a sanctuary city. I would submit to you that the people who are asking for sanctuary city status know what is best for them. I would also submit to you that the administration is not going to scientifically determine who is a sanctuary city and who isn't. Having done some research, I've found that there's already 2 fake think tanks that the Trump administration uses to speak about sanctuary cities. One is the American Immigration Commission, one is called FAIR, F-A-I-R, and according to them, I am sad to tell you, Kent County is already considered a sanctuary city, yeah. So whether you make the decision to make this a sanctuary city, to afford protections for our people who live here, for our residents, it doesn't matter. The verdict's already out as far as the Trump administration is concerned. I also am reminded of Commissioner Belcheck's comments the last time I was here to speak to you, saying, after she brushed off several hours of people that came to make this ask, oh, well, there's probably about the same amount of people who don't want it to be a sanctuary city. And I would say to Commissioner Belcheck, where are they? Are they here? From what I understand, you received thousands of letters from people, emails. Well, once you got your email straightened out, you did. And from what I understand, you got less than 24 people saying they were against it. So what's your excuse? What's your excuse? The people asking for this know what's best for them.
My name is Scott Atchison, and each of you should have a handout up there. It's a 2-page thing. Page 2 is for another time. But Mayor LeGrand, I didn't get an invite to your State of the City address. Maybe next year. I don't know. But I want to say this was great. Talked to a bunch of city departments, parks, recs, comptroller, planning. You know what I didn't see here? Anybody from downtown. No Downtown Development Authority, no Downtown Improvement District, no Downtown Grand Rapids Inc. And they're the people who won't meet with me when I tell them, right at Rosa Parks Circle, there needs to be an information center, information kiosk. And on your handout, it basically a little picture that explains it should be 2-story, with the second story being a press box. So when we do have parades go by, or the Fifth Third Riverbank Run, there's a nice press box for the media to go into. You know, the picture will explain it. I think the Downtown Development Authority, I don't think you guys know all the history of it. You know, the DDA, the DID, the DGRI. You guys created it all, so you guys can abolish it or change it. But the Downtown Development Authority should be doing more for downtown information. And now with your new amphitheater and soccer stadium going up, you're going to have to get a lot of people into downtown Grand Rapids to fill them hotels to pay back all the bonds you're borrowing for. And I want to say thankful to some people up there who's trying to get me meetings to explain what the Downtown Development Authority should do. But what do I want to say here? Just lost my mind here. But basically, this is all I want to say here. I'm not the enemy. I'm your friend, and I just think whenever I travel, Grand Rapids is the perfect size city to have one information center of everything that's open daily. From the museums, the movie theater, all the restaurants and bars, when they open, when they close. Every day, that information needs to be updated, and that should be the Downtown Development Authority. When the Downtown Grand Rapids Inc. was started, there were 5 employees. Now there's 21, plus a part-time employee who works for the Chamber of Commerce, the city, and that's 22 people, plus 20 ambassadors. Now the handout that I put in the public, communication, I want to know how much the city is letting be spent on these downtown ambassadors. Because the Downtown Improvement District is giving $836,000. How much is the Downtown Development Authority giving them? Over $1 million. How much is all the different entities? How much are we paying for the downtown ambassadors? That's my main question tonight. And I will put these communications in the next commission agenda for review. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Martha Cooper. I'm from Grand Rapids, Michigan. It's been a long time since I've come to speak before the City Commission. And unfortunately, I'm still coming for the same reason. I went to Mayor's Monday, which is commendable. I think it's a really great thing and gives you a chance to really hear people. I was a little pushy, and I meant to be. Because as I told you then, and you kind of laughed, that I've been coming to Grand Rapids City Hall since Bernie ran. Well, you know, he was somebody that was interested in the people at the bottom of the income inequality situation. And since then, I've been coming and talking about housing, especially in my concerns are people that are homeless or making underneath 30% of AMI. I understand somebody told me that it was like 17% of our population. And I think that those people are to be represented by all of you as well. Okay. You now have the hot seat, and I will be addressing you directly because the status quo has not worked. When I was at the Mayor's Monday, you spoke about how we needed to do all this building and have so many apartments that people had enough apartments spared left over for those at the bottom, and that would bring rents down. So basically, I've heard that before, way back in 1980 when Reagan was president, and the welcome to the trickle-down approach. And from what I can see about how far behind our city is when it comes to how many units of housing we need, I have very little hope that that's going to do anything for people who are under 30%. And I'd really like it, Mark Washington, if you would pay very close attention to me. I know that I'm kind of old hat by now, but I'm still really passionate about this issue. You did a budget where there's more and more homeless, but the amount of money stayed the same. This last year, it was found out that 19% worse is where we are when it comes to homelessness in our country. 19% is a large amount of people. I want to also, because I'm supposed to be trying to be nice when this is painful. It's hard to be nice when you're in pain. But I'm really glad to see that there have been a couple of pokes out there at things that will work. I understand I saw an article in the news about the women from Dégagé, that the new program that has been alive for a year now and has made a great big difference with support services for women that were chronically homeless. Oh. And I also see about Mel Trotter, and what I'm saying is those are a drop in the bucket, and it's something. But something needs to be done in a different way. I want to explore social housing because it doesn't depend on the federal government. Thank you for letting me have one precious moment.
Thanks.
Hello, my name is Akolda Mayer. I'm part of the JR4 Job Corps. I'm also part of student government, and as part of my student government, I fight to make sure that anything that the student body needs, I fight for it. And I just think from a business standpoint, you do have a reason to fight for the immigrants and make it a sanctuary, because they add to the city taxes, they create job opportunities, they add cultural and environmental benefits. They have food, language, culture, and so on, and they're interesting to talk to. They have a lot of different insights, and I just think that we should fight for them, because the same way I fight for my students at my school as part of their student government, and I push for the student interest, even with the limitation of, hey, you can't do this, you can't do that, I still fight for my students, so I don't know why you don't fight for us.
Hi, everyone. I haven't been here since November, so thank you so much for having a commission night out, and it's good to see some wonderful faces on the commission. I second a lot of what has been said. I wanted to also give the perspective of helping some of my students apply for housing and being really, really concerned that even though there were
Can you give us your name and where you're from,
Oh,
please?
sorry. I
Thanks.
skipped right in. Kelsey Mae Frazier. And I teach in Grand Rapids. I don't live here anymore. I'm in Comstock. But attempting to help my students determine what their next step is going to be and how they can afford housing is a huge concern. I just keep seeing the prices creep up, and I really would love if some kind of ceiling policy was enacted. I know that I've heard, and I would love to talk at the end, but we aren't doing that tonight. So I'm curious to hear how some of the developments that have been proposed are helping address that. But again, like the numbers game, it's hard. The other thing I wanted to say is I love some of the construction projects that are being proposed, and I just wanted to say, please don't forget about the low-income communities in terms of those beautification improvements, trees and parks. Thank you so much.
Buenas tardes, quiero interpretación, por favor. Mi nombre es Gemma. Gracias.
My name is Hema.
Y pues que vinieron a nuestro barrio con nuestra comida, espero que les haya gustado.
I hope you liked the food from our neighborhood.
En cómo el inmigrante puede aportar a nuestra comunidad con su comida, su música, su cultura.
And that shows how an immigrant can support and add with food, music, and culture.
Y estoy revisando la agenda y no habla nada acerca de que la ciudad se convierta en santuario.
And then I'm looking at the agenda and I don't see anything about the city becoming a sanctuary.
Y no solamente es una palabra, el santuario, sino qué significa y qué políticas pueden hacer santuario a esta ciudad.
And it's not only just the word sanctuary, but the meaning of it.
Esas políticas que van a determinar que la policía local no coopere con ICE.
And that local policies about local police not cooperating with ICE.
Que en la ciudad de Grand Rapids haya una política que nunca se establezca un centro de detención en nuestra ciudad.
And to establish for never to have a detention center in our city.
Que también la ciudad de Grand Rapids tenga en cuenta que nosotros somos seres humanos, porque lo que pasa aquí es que no nos ven como seres humanos.
And then for the city to take into consideration that we are humans, because it looks like we're not being seen as humans.
Y nosotros, estos humanos, pagamos impuestos a la ciudad, al estado y a la federal.
And we also pay taxes to the city, the state, and the federal.
¿Y qué pasa si no estamos aquí? ¿De quién va a agarrar nuestros impuestos porque nos deporten?
And who is going to take our taxes? What if we get deported?
Estos impuestos que están ayudando a todo lo que dicen en la distribución de nuestra ciudad, lo que está en la agenda, toda la distribución, si no tienen quien aporte, como los inmigrantes, ¿de dónde lo van a sacar?
So where's the funds going to be? Because if the taxes from the immigrants are not going to be counted, then who is going to put those taxes?
¿Están ustedes preocupados que se declare santuario y que no nos vengan los recursos federales, pero si no hay de dónde sacarlos, que vamos a pagar esos recursos, tampoco lo van a tener?
So you guys are concerned about not having the funds, but if we don't add and if we don't put the taxes and the money, where do you guys will get that money from?
por eso es que una vez más estamos aquí pidiendo que la ciudad de Grand Rapids se recare su santuario para que proteja a nuestra comunidad inmigrante trabajadora e indocumentada.
And that's why, we are asking to please say the Grand Rapids city to become a sanctuary city. We are a community, we are hard workers.
Y no, nos están ignorando. Tenemos que tomar medidas más drásticas para que no nos ignoren más, para que sepan que estamos aquí y que nos merecemos ser parte de esta comunidad, como ya lo hemos estado haciendo.
And it looks like we do have to take more drastic actions in order to be seen, to be here. We are here because we do need to have the sanctuary city.
Gracias.
Thank you.
I almost feel like I need a translator for y'all. Ain't that crazy? It's so sick to watch my fellow community members get up here and plead with you in financial terms. Financial terms. Please make this a sanctuary city because we contribute financially to the economy. Therefore, there is value to our life other than being a damn human. I'm so angry. I don't get it. This is for show, isn't it, Purdue? Ain't it? We loved your photo op. You guys are playing a game with human life. People who aren't any danger to this world are being shipped out to another country, not even for labor, just to be held as slaves, to be tortured. People are shooting up schools and killing children, and they're getting plea deals so they don't get the death penalty. Now, I'm abolitionist. I don't think the prison system should exist at all, right? But, like, gross. Gross. A child got up here and pled financial terms to you in order to make her city safe so that she feels safe and her other students feel safe. But y'all just up here playing. Ain't you, Mayor? Playing. It's sick. Y'all are all sick. It's definitely time to break up with the system. Winstrom, you're not fucking invited. Just to be clear, this is a safe space. This is a space for change, for reimagining a system without police that text all day while we pay them at least $25 an hour, but you've been here probably a couple years, so up in the $30 range. But trust y'all.
Jeff Smith, live in the Second Ward of Grand Rapids. I'm also here to speak about sanctuary. Back in January, Mayor LeGrand, you said that being a sanctuary city would potentially give immigrants a sense of false hope. And those of us who do this work, with GR Rapid Response to ICE, we disagree. And we think it would mean a concrete commitment that the city would not cooperate with ICE in the following ways. Policies restricting the ability of the state and local police to make arrests for federal immigration violations or detain individuals on civil immigration warrants. Policies restricting the police or other city workers from asking about immigration status. Policies prohibiting 287G agreements through which ICE deputizes local law enforcement officers to enforce federal immigration law. Policies that prevent local governments from entering into a contract with the federal government to hold immigrants in detention. Policies preventing immigration detention centers from even existing in Grand Rapids. And preventing the GRPD to not arrest people who are directly mobilized to prevent ICE from arresting, detaining members of the immigrant community. Adopting these policies, we believe, would not give people false hope, but it would provide concrete acts of solidarity and support to the undocumented community. In January as well, I remember, and I think somebody else mentioned it tonight, that Commissioner Belcheck, you said that when we first asked to be a sanctuary back in January, that you said that we've not heard from the people who oppose it. And I've been keeping track of all the folks who have either sent electronic messages in and those who haven't. And as of right now, there are 3,204 people who have signed on to demand that the city become a sanctuary, and a total of 16 people have publicly opposed it. 3,204 to 16. It's been 2 months now. It seems like a pretty clear message about what a disproportionate member of the population of Grand Rapids wants and doesn't want. Grand Rapids also said that they don't want to see the state, they don't want to lose state or federal funds by being a sanctuary. And we believe that the state and federal government, if they did cut funds to Grand Rapids for standing in solidarity with immigrants, that two things would happen. One, people would be angered and moved to action against federal and state governments for being so petty. And two, people would step up with funds, skills, or whatever they could to make sure that people's needs are being taken care of despite funding being withheld. In addition, Grand Rapids could do what the city of Massachusetts had done, which was to sue the federal government for cutting their funds off. So anyhow, please adopt sanctuary policy.
We said it once, we said it twice, we will not put up with ICE. We said it once, we said it twice, we will not put up with ICE. We said it once, we said it twice, we will not put up with ICE. We said it once, we said it twice, we will not put up with ICE. We said it once, we said it twice, we will not put up with ICE. We said it once, we said it twice, we will not put up with ICE. When I said it once, when I said ICE.
Please, I'm asking you to return to order, please, folks. Folks, if you want to take this outside, that's great, but this is your first warning. This is a general lawful assembly where city business is being conducted in an open meeting. Everyone has a right to attend this meeting and address the city commission, and I'd ask you to refrain from this behavior. I'll ask that the security here ask these individuals to be escorted from the meeting. Okay, your conduct is disrupting this meeting. You're committing a breach of the peace, and I'm asking you to leave the meeting.
You've been asked to leave. talking, they ain't doing shit.
Their frustration. My name is Ann.
I think you need a microphone again. I think that may need to get re-enabled for you. If you could just give us a second. Okay, I think your mic's live. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. I understand their frustration. As far as I'm concerned, there's a plethora of things that are going through my head. I know that you guys don't have the power to do an awful lot of things, you know, though I know some of you guys personally, you know. And if you do, amuse me. Do what you need to do to get this situation taken care of as far as the communities are concerned with the homelessness. I was a victim of homelessness as well. I have been a victim of, during that homelessness, having GRPD pull guns on me. I am a well-abiding citizen, never done anything wrong, have taught in this very school, have worked in the criminal justice system, as well as done a plethora of other things, and have continued to reinvent myself to be the strength of the community and show younger people how to be the strength of the community as well. I sat in on a meeting this afternoon at the city, and I heard Winstrom talk about a program that they have about coming around in the community being transparent. I don't feel that that can happen because an awful lot of times they are taking the initiative to not tell the whole story. And when I say the whole story, I talk about the racial profiling that happened to me on 10/19/2022. I'm quite disturbed still by that. I never thought, working in the justice system, such a thing would ever happen to me. I was in the process of moving because I was immediately evicted from a place I lived for 10 years. Did not expect that as well. Being homeless, I did not expect GRPD, when these guns were pulled on me, to identify me as being homeless but not get me any type of help. Okay, I'm a good person, strong person, and I bless people going in, I bless people going out. An awful lot of this is not easy to fix, but the thing is, you just don't turn your back on all of it. And again, I do understand people's frustration, but people have to understand, black people have been here, done this, and had the situation been rectified a long time ago during slavery, we would not be at this point. Had people spoke up more courageously and fought more courageously for one another, we wouldn't be here. Do I hold anybody's feet to the fire? No, I hold my feet to the fire. Because when it comes down to it, I'm going to do what I need to do to help my community going forward. I don't need anybody's okay about it.
We're past
Okay.
the 3 minutes, if you could.
Not a
wrap up.
problem.
Could you
Not a
share
problem.
could you
Thanks
share
so
your
much,
name
ma'am.
if you would, please?
My name is Ann.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Hi, my name is Kevin Bowman. Coming for you guys just to express some comment. I attended your public safety meeting this afternoon.
Can you put the microphone in front of your thanks?
Can you hear me now? There we go. So yeah, I attended your public safety meeting this afternoon at 12:30, where we went over the firefighting department, the police department. We heard Ward babble on for about 30 minutes about transparency. There was a few questions afterwards, but the question I want to ask is, do we actually know what transparency is? This little propaganda or confirmation of bias show they want to put out there, as in the crime and stuff. But transparency will show the profiling and harassing of the minorities. Transparency will show how the police is driving recklessly, in our neighborhood, no sirens activated. Transparency will show the number. We want to see the number statistics of the difference between the blacks and whites, Asians, Africans, the difference of the police stopping, the traffic stops. We want to see that. We want to see them statistics, not the made-up numbers of the crimes and stuff. We want to see actual statistics. We want to see transparency. We want to see the number of complaints that the GRPD have yearly. We want to see that. We want to see actual body cams. We don't want to see stuff that's edited and took out. We want to see the laws that they're breaking, the same laws that they're trying to enforce, they're breaking themselves. We want to see transparency, actual transparency. We want to see them. We don't want to hear every public safety meeting him come up there, oh, we transparent, we'll do it all good. We want to see the bad too. See that y'all actually learning from y'all mistakes. We want to see the profile, and we want to see all that. We want to see what's really going on, not your side of the story. We want to see the public side. We want to see what the community is experiencing, the engagement, the proper engagement, not the traffic stops and that y'all making criminal stops, turning to criminal stops. Most of our criminal background starts off as a traffic violation or a small ordinance that turns into a criminal. From most of the times, they violated by searching, illegal searches, illegal stop. They didn't have a reason to stop their profile. I done went through several situations. I actually filed a complaint against Christopher Shores a year prior to him killing Patrick LaLoya. And guess what? The NCAA, didn't see no errors. Internal field, nobody see no errors, but this man killed somebody a year later. When it's all on camera. Y'all see this? Y'all see the videos, what's going on in these communities? But nobody's addressing it. Nobody really, we got all these new organizations that come that's supposed to be representing us that we don't even know. We never seen. All these new developments that's coming into the neighborhood, buying up all the properties, parcels and stuff that's we see. We hear about ICE so much right now, ICE. But we have another one called DICE. ICE is targeting them, but DICE is targeting the minorities, blacks, African Americans. What about DICE? That's what we want to see, transparency, not no propaganda, not no confirmational bias. Let us see the real. How these police actors out here harassing us.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Ma'am, you're out of order. You've already had your time at the microphone. I ask you to be courteous to the other people who are here to speak and took their time to come here. Sir, you've had your time. I'm trying to keep order here. Thank you.
Greetings in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. My name is Daniel Scott, 30-year resident of the city. First of all, I want to thank Commissioner Kilgore last time I was here for jumping up, running to me, and giving me a schedule. Thank you very much. But Commissioner Knight, if those comments you made at the end of the meeting where I was talking about Black History Month, and you were sharing that some of them were not facts, I'll be happy to meet with you afterwards and you can tell me what I shared that were not factual. Well, this month is Women's History Month. Every month should be Women's History Month. But we should be in mourning for the millions of little women that have been murdered in our nation through what they call abortion. Think of it, over 40 million little women, not counting the almost 40 million little boys, and what they could have communicated and contributed to our society if they were allowed to live. Do you know that at 425 East Cherry and within Corewell Health and Metro Hospitals, they're not only murdering these children, dismembering them, as my t-shirt shows, but they're selling their body parts. This is according to the U.S. House Selective Investigative Panel. Fetal brains are sold for $3,340. Human fetal tissue, $595 each. Upper and lower limbs with hands and feet, $890. A baby skull matched to the upper and lower limbs, $595. You read one of these sales sheets, it reads like you're buying fish in a market. If you want to see less violence in our city, shut down 425 East Cherry and stop these so-called life centers, called hospitals, from having departments where they murder children, limb by limb, decapitating their heads, sucking out their brains, and selling them for profit.
Seeing no further public comment, we will now move on to comments from my fellow commissioners. Commissioner Knight.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm grateful to be in this space and grateful for those who are able to come out and share their voice. Thankful for the city staff who put together the community conversation about the construction that's going on in our community, as we see a number of things happening, not only across our city, but with some of our small businesses, and how this will impact the neighbors in the neighborhood as well as the businesses that are impacted by that. So it kind of gave us a forward look into the things that are going to be going on throughout this year and will help us be able to plan. So I'm thankful for that. It does hurt me in some spaces, but I'll just have to figure it out. Also, last week, a number of us had the opportunity to go to Lansing to the MML conference, where there was a lot of great information that was shared from what is happening federally, how that impacts us at the state level, and how that trickles down here to the city level. And I think as we continue to get an overload of information from our federal government and our state government, I want to continue to remind people that there are multiple ways for us to stand up for what's happening in our communities, what we think may be happening in the communities, but also helping us understand what actually is impacting us here on the local level and how we can advocate in a number of different ways. There are some town halls that are going to be happening here, I think, next week. Commissioner Sassy, you can help me clarify that one. And in a couple of weeks with some of our state representatives as well as our legislative representatives to really give people some tools that they can use. So if you can't be out protesting, you may be able to make some phone calls, you may be able to make some email or send some emails, but we, like never before, have to really, one, make sure that we're getting all the information we need, because all news is not good news. Getting the correct news, not just sound bites, but what's actually factual, and then being able to take that information and share it with those who can do some actual work at the federal level as well as at the state level. And I commend everybody who gets up and uses their voice and spends their time to advocate for our neighbors, for our cousins, for our community members, for people we went to school with, because it is impacting all of us. I don't even think we've really begun to see the total impact of what's happening, because things are moving so very quickly, and so there's a lot of confusion out there. But I would definitely encourage you to continue to stand your ground and do the things that we know to be right to support our communities. I'd like to throw out there, as always, and I think everyone on this commission can say that we're all open for conversation at any time. We have phone numbers, emails, social media pages, all the stuff and all the things, but we don't know what we don't know. So if you'd like to have a conversation, I can say personally, I'm more than happy. And Mr. Scott, I will meet you afterwards so we can discuss that. If you can bring it up, because I don't have an internet connection, so I can remember exactly what it is that you said that I rebutted. Other than that, just want to throw out there and remind people that we are 95 days in. Thank you.
Commissioner Belcheck.
Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. This is my first commission night out, so I'm getting a taste of all of this new experience here. And I know that a lot of people left for a variety of reasons just now, but I heard my name mentioned loudly and clearly, and so I would like to take accountability for what I had said at a previous meeting. I did kind of trip over my words, and maybe my meaning was missed in translation, but to set the record straight, what I intended to try to convey, and I do think that I had one person email me that I had a chance to say this to. So to the gentleman who was here earlier, hopefully he can follow up with me and or hear this, but all of you, I want you to know that I appreciate and I asked for being held accountable when I took my oath of office. So here it is, people doing their due diligence and doing that. And I intended to mean to say that we have to listen to a variety of aspects and sides to every story. As a journalist formerly, I did that. And knowing where you're coming from and your own biases is a part of that. And we have a lot of people who want to come and advocate for our neighbors, and I find that incredibly admirable and exactly what is needed in this moment. And I want to encourage all of us to look for the right places to do that. Here is one of them, but also, as one person mentioned, I think Ann, that we don't always have the same levers of power that are imagined. But I do make my apology for anything that I misspoke or said at a previous meeting. And I just want to reiterate that apathy does not exist here. Apathy does not exist here. For anyone who thinks that people are sitting up here on this commission, not listening, not paying attention, not being out in their community, I want you to think again that maybe you're missing a side of the story. That we need to be open-hearted and open-minded and think, how else could I be seeing this and what might I be missing? So apathy does not exist here. We are all advocates. I listened to a town hall on Saturday that included Senator Brinks and our Attorney General, Dana Nessel. And one of the things Dana Nessel said over and over again is that if we are to be advocates, we are to do it in a way that is peaceful and lawful. That might mean different things as to what you think lawful should be, but the truth is we do have laws in a civil society. So let's take action, because action is the prescription and the antidote to apathy and to anxiety, but let's do it in a way that is peaceful and lawful and respects the First Right Amendments of all of us. To that extent, I do challenge our audience present and or watching now or later that we have many opportunities to engage. Tonight's one example of them. Commissioner Knight's correct. We all are open and welcome to having conversations. I have a calendar set up to do that. You can have a personal conversation with me. And we have, I believe it is on March 31st, a town hall in Granville with our Representative Glanville, and I believe Commissioner Isazi will talk more about this too, but April 3rd would be the one in the 2nd Ward with Representative Grant. So again, I guess thank you and welcome to my first experience of this.
Commissioner Robbins.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. I'll just add my thanks to the staff. I know we get the fun part of showing up and smiling and pulling prizes for people, and are grateful for that opportunity. But for all the time that we spend here in this room, I know there's much more that goes on behind the scenes to make all that possible. So thanks so much for that. When I heard the theme for tonight's meeting, I started wishing my friends and family happy construction launch week, and I mostly just got groans from people. But in all seriousness, I think what we're doing here tonight, the opportunities for engagement that were provided for people, are good governance and action. I hear all the time questions, comments, thoughts, and feedback on construction and all that happens within our city limits. And so really excited about the feedback that we received. Super excited about the hub idea too. I think that that's a cutting edge tool that we can use to keep our neighborhoods informed. So just appreciate you all taking the time out of your busy evenings to be here, and look forward to seeing some of that feedback in action. Thanks.
Commissioner Kilgore.
So that will be local leaders, so some of our commissioners that are here tonight, State Representative Christian Grant, and the Congresswoman. And I think we have to do our due diligence to continue to let the folks know who work in DC how important our concerns are, and that we are fearful. Someone talked about the defense secretary. I have had a few messages about that today. There's nothing I can do about that. But I do think, they did have a committee hearing in DC today. So I do think it's very important to share those concerns. I also wanted to echo the thanks to the city staff and folks taking part in the construction projects. I had, just to share how valuable your feedback is, I had an Instagram message about someone on Boston and Plymouth with some construction and worrying about a street being too narrow that's being worked on to have emergency vehicles in. I told them to email me, forwarded that email to city staff, and within 24 hours we were able to get some correspondence. So please continue. Construction is stressful, but if there are things like that where, yes, we have to have construction, but you feel as though an emergency vehicle or you can't get in and out of your road, please let us know and we'll take care of it. So I'm thankful to city staff for that, and please continue to Instagram me, email me, so we can continue to have these important conversations.
Commissioner Perdue.
Good evening, everyone. Who was here, who I got to speak with tonight, who will watch this later. I really enjoyed tonight. I got to connect with so many folks. There were a lot of student groups here, everything from TRIO to Job Corps, and many of those folks got to speak with us one-on-one, but also got to speak here at the mic and advocate in this forum, and that was just really, really exciting to see. There was a lot of, in public comment, just really great, heartfelt, and valid concerns that were shared. So I have a lot of scribbles. I'm going to try to address a few of these, hopefully in a somewhat structured and coherent way. So I first just want to recognize that we are in difficult times, and many of us are experiencing this time differently. And I think how I'm experiencing it personally probably isn't as relevant to how I must experience this time as an elected official, as your representative, and as your voice in City Hall. A lot of folks talked about sanctuary city status and policies and intimidation and making a stand. And someone said that we are already on the radar as a county for sanctuary policies or being a sanctuary place. But that is because we have a lot of the policies that already say that we're going to use our resources to do the work of the city of Grand Rapids, not any other agency's work, particularly at a time where I see that there is immense threat for civil rights for so many different groups. And I am very worried at the direction that this country may go down that path. And then you pair that with intimidation of judges and so on and so forth that's happening across this country. It is very, very unnerving. So I think it's even more important that at this local level, we really focus on keeping a sense of checks and balances within our system, making sure that they are as transparent and as accountable as possible, and that we tell the facts and we speak the truth. I listened to this really interesting conversation, a podcast, interviewing a journalist who had been targeted by her home country, and a country that once had a constitution and worked as a democracy and then fell into authoritarianism. And it was just a fascinating recap of her personal experience and tips and warnings for us in this really critical moment. But one thing that I took from that was the importance of we have to have the same fact book. We all cannot be living in different realities. So I just want to recommit that I will continue to tell the facts and the truth and to hopefully gain your trust as an individual. And I understand there might be some barriers to stop that from happening fully, and I totally respect that, because when I took this oath of office, I kind of got absorbed into representing the system in some way. But I do want you to know that I got into this office because I wanted to improve this system. And it's slow, and it's incremental, and it's very frustrating for me, but that will continue to be my commitment while I'm here. That being, or kind of along those same lines, you know, I appreciate folks, advocates and protesters who come and who demonstrate. I actually think disruption right now is welcomed and it's needed, because I think what's happening across our country is not only disruptive to our lives, to our liberties, to our sense of well-being and calm, but I also think it's violence. I think what's happening across our country is violence against the people in this country and, quite frankly, throughout the world. And folks ask the question, what is your influence? What is your power? And many of you named those things. What can we control here in terms of our policies and our practices, but also how we show up and how we represent? And I think we spoke to a few of those things tonight. I want to pivot a little bit, just kind of running through a lot of the topics that were brought up. One that was brought up was around downtown, and Mr. Atchison, sorry, my twang is not allowing me to say that well. But I actually think the idea of having an info booth downtown is really great. And especially as we have so many new assets coming online, we'll probably be even more welcomed. And you're right, we do have a ton of resources focused downtown, both in a lot of the agencies that were mentioned, but also in terms of city staff and city resources. We have really focused over many years of building assets downtown, revitalizing our downtown. And I truly believe, and I've said this from here before, I've said this in conversations with you, that if we gave a fraction of that energy to our neighborhoods and our neighborhood business districts, we will be a much well-off city, whether we're talking economic development, business development, housing, or just general well-being and social services. And so that has been a conversation that's been gaining traction, and I'm really excited to see city leadership, the economic development department, and others really say, how do we focus and prioritize more on our neighborhood business districts especially, so that we can begin to have a chance at the vitality that the downtown area is able to enjoy. I'll also say, you know, we make a lot of decisions here in terms of our votes as a body, right? Did it pass, did it fail? But we are all individuals as well, and in the vein of fact-checking and truth-telling, part of my mantra as I listen is, you know, there's a number of people up here, and if I hear something that I don't think applies to me, I let it fly. In that, I don't get defensive, I don't need to correct every single thing that people say that might not be totally representative of the full story and the full context. But that being said, if you have an issue with something that I've said, a concern or my stance on something, I want to talk to you personally. There was someone who came to the dais last year or the year before who insulted me, called me out of my name. It was completely inappropriate. But I sat down with this person and her crew and said, let's talk. And they say, I can't believe that you did that. I say, yeah, I'm a big enough person to sit down with somebody who's insulted me and called me out my name, say, what's the issue here? How did I offend you? And what are we really trying to say? And that was actually a really, really productive conversation. And so I offer that to anyone here today, now and in the future. I'm happy to take you up on that. So I think I've said enough. I think I'll end on a positive note that I heard this week in meeting with one of our local advocacy groups. And of course, as you check in and you say, how are you feeling? People are feeling really heavy. They're feeling very worried. They're feeling really dismayed. And you kind of can't help but to bring that up. But they said, I'm feeling that way about what's happening macro, big picture. But I actually have a lot of hope for what's happening here in our city and with our city leadership. And that just made my week because I do think there are some real tangible wins that I'm certainly fighting for that we have achieved over the short term and the medium term that I've been around this table. And so I'll be sharing more of those tomorrow. I do a regular briefing, Let's Talk Third Ward. It was online, 30 minutes. And so tomorrow I'll be spending some of that time giving some of those wins, but also being honest about where we're struggling, what else we need, what else we should all be paying attention to that's in our purview, and as I can, giving you up some updates on big picture what's happening that is impacting our world in ways that we can get involved and stand up. So with that, I thank you all. It was great speaking with you, and I hope to see you all again soon.
Commissioner Sassi.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you all who prepared everything to be here today. I want to give a shout out to Union High School. Even though I'm from the 2nd Ward, I grew up in the 3rd Ward and lived in the 1st Ward. My dad was a principal at Westwood Middle School for many years. And if you didn't know, actually this weekend, Union High School is going to be doing one of their first musicals in a very long time. And we know the importance of after-school activities, different things. You know, sports are certainly good. I was never a sports person, but they're going to be doing Mean Girls, the musical, over this weekend, and it's $5 to attend. And Mr. Jerry Aguilar is the one who told me about that, and he's very excited about the students that will be here this weekend. So if you get a chance, come out and support them. Strong cities need strong schools, and just wanted to be able to share that before I shared some other comments. There were a number of things discussed today. I wanted to talk about a few things to celebrate. One, last week I had the opportunity to attend with Ms. Renero the Uptown Business Celebration. We had just reviewed Uptown's, their investment and sort of what those business owners are investing in the community. And it was a packed room at Mammoth Distillery, and just wanted to recognize a number of businesses who won. Some of them are my very favorites, like the Early Bird, Art of the Table, and new businesses who are also recognized as well. And I think it's important to celebrate businesses. We know that businesses are having an extremely hard time. I work in the business services sector providing lending in my day job, and we see the reality of the challenges that already exist in sort of the hospitality and restaurant businesses. So thank you to Uptown. Congratulations to Ingrid, Julia, and others there, the board members who were able to recognize those efforts last week, Wednesday. Thank you for the overview of the construction pieces. I know that what you saw today was only a sub-segment of what is the construction that will be going on in our community this season. I think it is perfectly, I had some friends, just concerns about where they'll park, how things will go. I think certainly continue to reach out with any questions that you have. But I think that during this time, we need to kind of practice that patience, taking a little bit more time, following the City of Grand Rapids social media pages to kind of see what some of those updates are, and to know that, again, I think strong cities have strong infrastructure, and I'm really proud of the infrastructure efforts that we have here in our community. We also did hear from individuals regarding sanctuary cities. A few weeks ago, I had the opportunity to speak on local public radio, on Michigan radio, on the stateside show, to talk about questions about what Grand Rapids was doing as it related to the idea of sanctuary cities. This was also after the Speaker of the House had made some comments, Speaker of the House of the state of Michigan, about sanctuary cities and sort of, how Grand Rapids was seen. I won't get into all of that because I do think while I am, like many of you, struggling on what is happening on a federal level and a state level. I am a city commissioner. I am focused on city issues, the things that are most important to you. And I will tell you the most calls that I get into my office and the things that I talk to about people were their streets plowed when it's snowing. And I don't know if we're gonna get one more snow, John, but were their streets plowed? Was their trash picked up? Is there speeding in their neighborhood? You know, checking in with their neighbor, the cost of services that they have. And so I think it's easy to sort of get pulled into a lot of different directions. I am committed on being your city commissioner. And so looking through those pieces today in the sanctuary city, my response to this discussion about how it impacts us as a city level is that I think it's an overreach of an unfunded mandate, quite honestly, for the federal government to ask us to do something that we are not being paid to do. I don't think it's something that we want to do. Chief Winstrom is here and had talked about this in the past, about what our stance was as it related to how we're engaging with individuals. And then additionally, it's an unfunded mandate. So I'm sorry, it's also a violation, I think, of a local control. Two things that I hold in high regard as it relates to city activities and services. So I think there's a lot of other political pieces on there, and I think the reality is we are weighing what have we done proactively, quite honestly, before this discussion, and I think it is something that we are continuing to monitor and to communicate very closely with our police department. Lastly, I'll just share, quite honestly, I think a continued point of frustration that I had this morning. I was certainly frustrated during our committee of the whole meeting, mostly because I believe in the idea of what's in our circle of control, our circle of concern, and our circle of influence. And the discussion about needed resources to each one of us as city commissioners during a time when we don't know if we're going to have funding for 71 positions in the city because of our current federal budget uncertainty, during a time when we have individuals who are working for our city who are doing a really good job and are not even working for us for 40 hours a week, and we're talking about adding money to our individual needs, I think is very short-sighted. So I continue to be frustrated by this conversation today. I know that we talked about something being a pilot. I think it is a slippery slope. I think it's a slippery slope into what else is needed without trying to really recognize what is the problem. What is the thing that needs to be fixed? How do we re-engineer a system? How do we use technology in different ways? And so I was in the minority in that discussion today, along with my colleague, Commissioner Knight, but I really hope that we continue to think about the investments that we're making, what is coming out of our general fund, what is going to be precarious in the future, and what is work that should be funded right now at full levels. And I will continue to say I will not accept those support services moving forward, and I really want us to think more creatively about how we do this job and still, you know, and meet those needs and utilize the city services and the staff and recognize what gets changed in that system. Thank you.
Mr. Clerk, any comments? City Attorney, City Manager?
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. I just want to reemphasize my appreciation for the staff. First of all, for GRPS for collaborating with us on these community nights out, and the staff that have to bring the communications equipment here and come early for setup, and all the departments that were at the resource tables in addition to the engagement exercise. I want to thank everyone for their participation, as well as our vendor who provided outstanding food for us this evening. So thank you so much. I just wanted to highlight a couple of things. At the Public Safety Committee, we got good briefings from both police and fire, but also from our community children, highlighting our summer youth employment program, which will begin this summer for youth ages 15 to 24, $13 an hour, and applications are due by April 25th. If you know of anyone who would like to work part-time this summer, 20 hours a week, between June 9th and July 18th. Also, I heard some feedback from some of the residents earlier about some of our investments in housing community services, and in today's community as a whole, briefing. We also had a very comprehensive view about our neighborhood investment plan, over $7.5 million for various community services through the federal funding, primarily, that will address issues around housing, the unhoused, and other supportive services. So I want to thank Community Development Department for that, as well as the comprehensive update we've had on materials management from our Refuse Department, and a promising conversation around improving Indian trails in the 3rd Ward. So thank you, our Parks Department, for that update.
Thank you. And I want to echo our city manager's appreciation. I was struck tonight by how many staff members and members of various departments, took a chunk of their evening to come here and be positive and engaged and excited to see the citizens, and that was great, and certainly great to see so many citizens out here too, engaging and asking questions and thinking about things together. So really impressed by how open the staff was to feedback and ideas, and I hope that we can continue to be a curious and engaged community together. So thank you all for coming. Now I'll move us on to approval of the minutes. Have a motion?
So moved.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So that's passed. That moves us on to petitions and communications.
The first one is communication received from Ken Vaughn appealing the response to FOIA request 2025-536.
That's received and filed.
Communication received from the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression urging the City Commission to review and revise public comment policies.
Received and filed.
Communication received from Tom O'Brien opposing the single trash hauler proposal.
Received and filed.
Communication received from Scott Atchison regarding the budget for Downtown Ambassador Program.
That's received and filed. Moving us on to reports from city officers, and we have two items. First is
the Comptroller's warrant report for the period of February 25, 2025 through March 10, 2025 in the amount of $33,682,297.98.
That's received and filed.
And the Treasurer's report for the period of February 26, 2025 through March 7, 2025.
Also received and filed, which brings us on to the consent agenda, which is approval of all of the items which passed unanimously in various committees and were not pulled for further discussion. Like a motion?
So moved.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That passes. And that brings us to the single item that was removed from consent. And Commissioner Kilgore, if you could.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. This is.
Oh,
Can you read the resolution? We'll move it.
sure. It's a resolution declaring the necessity for the Uptown Business Improvement District Special Assessment role.
So moved.
Thank you. This is a resolution declaring the necessity of the Uptown Business Improvement District Special Assessment, roll number 8,796. On Tuesday, March 11th, 2025, the City Commission held a public hearing on the necessity of the Uptown Bid Special Assessment, which is required to authorize the continuation of the assessment for a 5-year term beginning July 1st, 2025 and ending June 30th, 2030. The Uptown Bid Board recommended approval of the plan at its January 15th, 2025 board meeting.
And the reason that was off consent, for what it's worth, is that I abstained from that vote since I have property that's affected by that business district decision, and consulted with the city attorney, who concluded there was no conflict, but nonetheless, out of the abundance of caution, I abstained from the vote. So that passed with my abstention. That takes us then to, pardon? Oh, right, a vote. That'd be good. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I will abstain again. And that brings us on to two ordinances to be adopted.
First one is a consideration of an ordinance amending zoning map A Downtown Height Overlay District to add properties bounded by Leonard Street to the north, 6th Street to the south, US 131 to the west, and the Grand River to the east, to the DH-2 subsection A sub-area.
Commissioner Usasi.
So moved.
Support.
Thank you, Mayor. So on March 11th March 11th this month, we set today as a date to consider this request. for the zoning map amendment. I won't read all the properties that were listed, but to the sub-area, even though I didn't know how to say sub-area last time, of zoning map to the Downtown High Overlay District. A short overview is that back on December 14th of 23, the Planning Department considered rezoning of the subject properties from the TN-TCC, which is a traditional neighborhood and transitional city center zone district, to the TNCC, which is the traditional neighborhoods city center zone district. The Planning Commission then recommended in favor of this rezoning, which was approved by the City Commission back on February 20th of 2024. The intention was the inclusions of this property into the DH2A, which was discussed at length during engagement with the owners of the affected property. It was intended to be implied by our staff report and associated exhibits, as well as presented. So in short, this is really cleaning up just some of the mislanguage in this Downtown High Overlay District.
Ask for a roll call vote. Mr. Clerk?
Commissioner Robbins?
Yes.
Commissioner Purdue?
Yes.
Commissioner Knight?
Yes.
Commissioner Belcheck?
Yes.
Commissioner Kilgore?
Yes.
Commissioner Isasi?
Yes.
Mayor LaGrand?
Yes. And our next ordinance?
It's an ordinance amending sections 5.8.03 Grand River Overlay District and 5.11.15 Alternative Energy of the zoning ordinance, Chapter 61 of the City Code.
So moved.
Support.
Commissioner Purdue?
Yes, good evening again, everyone. I'll tell you a little bit about this proposed ordinance change. On March 11th, the City Commission set March 25th as a date to consider the following ordinance. That included proposed amendments to 4 separate sections of the zoning ordinance. Those sections related to window well requirements, front yard parking provisions, the Grand River Overlay District, and provisions regarding alternative energy. After much discussion, the City Commission directed that those items related to the basement window wells and front yard parking requirements be returned to the Planning Commission for consideration in order to further streamline those approval processes. So before us today, those remaining 2 sections, those related to the Grand River Overlay District and the provisions regarding alternative energy, are before us. So the first related to the Grand River Overlay District, this proposed amendment simply reinstates building elements, parking, and landscaping requirements that were unintentionally eliminated in our 2023 amendment process. The alternative energy item is really an effort to support green initiatives and alternative energy systems throughout our city. Currently, our zoning ordinance does not allow for rooftop solar panels to face streetwise, or if they are, they can only be permitted with an administrative departure. And so there's been a number of those approved administrative departures over the years to allow those solar panels to face another side of the street. And so with this amendment, rooftop solar panels can be placed on any location on a house that's best suited for energy collection without the additional financial cost to the owner or to our own staff at the city to review that departure application.
Thank you. Ms. City Clerk, actually, yeah, I can call for a vote.
Commissioner Purdue?
Yes.
Commissioner Knight?
Yes.
Commissioner Belcheck?
Yes.
Commissioner Kilgore?
Yes.
Commissioner Isasi?
Yes.
Commissioner Robbins?
Yes.
Mayor LaGrand?
Yes. And that concludes tonight's business. We are adjourned.